All right, welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. I made a new sign, hopefully a little bit easier to read, although I couldn't help myself with the font. So we got my websites are CATtheMinion for all of these here: YouTube, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Cafe Press, and DeviantArt. And then The Cat Came Back is my Twitter, and then thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com is my email address if you want to order a reading or perhaps your own copy of my free tarot deck to print out. It's all about songs, and images are bootleg, which is why I'm not selling it. I'm working on changing it to a PDF. I have to do something with the spreadsheet to make it more printable, and then it'll be available. Right now, I have it in a Word document and an Excel spreadsheet. And then also thecatcamebackatcamp Art is my Facebook art page. So you go to Cafe Press, you can get cool stuff like this necklace here. That one's called Crestfall. And then if you go to DeviantArt, you can get prints like this, my logo. Anyway, what I'm doing is I'm working on my Astrological Age series. We're doing Cancer today. And I've already cleared and shuffled the decks that I'm going to be using. I have the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck here. And my guides told me I should have the book handy because the Age of Cancer doesn't have a lot of deep extended history with it, so it's going to be more vague. So just in case I need to get more message information, I've got the book handy to skim. I'm using my double card deck. I've got historical fashion cards combined with another card deck, which is the Tim Burton cards. And I'm also using, I was going to use another deck. I might use my music deck, but I brought it out in particular for this card. This is the Queen of Pentacles card that I made. It's the song that I put is the New Mother Nature. No Sugar / New Mother Nature. And even though the Queen of Pentacles is not a Cancerian card, the Age of Cancer has a lot to do with Mother Nature, but just in a different energy. Because this is Sagittarius and Capricorn kind of like split a third of the way through, so it's going to be like really fiery and really earthy, whereas the Cancerian energy is the watery version of this energy. This is just a rainbow, like I don't know if it's a sand painting or a painting, but it's the rainbow light body. So there's like a seated figure in here, and you probably can't see it very well because my webcam is crapperino. But anyway, just music coming out. So I may or may not use this deck, which is weird because I'm not going to worry about getting Major Arcana right now. Additionally, this is, what am I trying to say? My internet cuts out all the time when I'm doing these live readings, and if it cuts out, I'll just wait for it to come back, and then I'll keep talking. Also, that's paper towels. That's not toilet paper back there. Not that I care if anyone's judging me right now anyway, but it's not toilet paper. All right, so I skimmed some information for the Age of Cancer. So we're looking at a time period of about 87,000 BC to about 6,500 BC. Because each astrological age is 2,160 years, and the dates always vary depending on which source you're using, so it's going to be in that range. And then because the entire precessional cycle takes, you know, almost 26,000 years, the next age of Cancer won't start for another 15,000 years from now. So it would have been, you know, like 10,500 BC when the historical global flooding happened. And the research says that that is what we find as the fire sign of Leo comes out of, goes into the water sign, and we have a shift from sun worship to moon worship. So some of the figures in the age of Cancer would have been like clearly a lot of goddess worship with female figures, but some of them are flanked by lions with that leftover energy. So there's moon worship, it's the Great Mother, it's nurturing, matriarchal society, it's the Stone Age. And what they're doing in this Stone Age in particular is they're doing, this pen is like freaking everywhere. Look at this, inking me. So you have tomb, where you're buried in the earth. You have womb, which is okay. So it'd basically be equating like cave systems to like the vagina of Mother Earth, and they see burials in the fetal position in this era, and then you have like the first academically acknowledged burial rites. So, and then there's this duality with the tomb womb between creation and destruction. It's like a duality, but there's also this sort of, you know, the earth will kill you, but there's also this like life-giving miracle of like people just suddenly appear out of women, and like, oh my God, what kind of witchcraft is this? And also in terms of like the mental consciousness space, which is really what these astrological age readings tend to be about, besides masculine and feminine energies moving back and forth over grand scales of time, is the consciousness and the mental. So in this time period, we're supposed to have been in a group soul consciousness, which basically is meaning there's a very little individual ego, where it's like, I'm an individual, it's all about me. Like, what have you done for me lately? So that's what was happening then, is that it was more of a group consciousness, which is to say, in terms of human animals, it comes out as tribalism. So you know, like a family unit. Then we find where we're at today, after being individuals so long in the patriarchal system for the last 6,000 years, is that there's a fear of the feminine energy with this sort of interest in the group over what you can get for yourself. And what's happening now is that there's technology. Oh my God. I could speak if I would sleep more than 3 hours at a time. Okay. The technology and the science is kind of perpetuating this idea of individuality, where we're at right now, just to block the feminine energy from fully coming in. And it's not to say it's like in an evil way, it's just the way things are arcing in terms of like the ebb and flow of consciousness. Towards the end of the age of Cancer, there was domestication of animals like horses and cattle. There's a wheel technology, weaving. The first, again, academically acknowledged metalworking. And what happens is that as you come out of the age of Cancer with these other technologies, you get more brain development and intellectual development. So each age is moving further away from that group tribal mentality, at least in terms of, you know, in terms of what's more. Is that all the time when I'm recording live? Oh, and then another important thing for the age of Cancer would have been settling in permanent settlements with house building to replace, you know, following the food and around in terms of hunting and gathering. And then you would have the planting schedule, and fertility would be based on moon cycles, which rules Cancer. You know, like the Farmer's Almanac and menstrual cycles. So I wrote a little note here with the new Mother Nature taking over, which is why I pulled this card. So that's a song I have on here. So what I do with these readings, sleep. What I do with these astrological age readings is I'll pull some cards for the last age. I'll pull some cards for the next age in 15,000 years. And I'll give an idea of what was being worked on energetically, and then what the continuation will be in the next cycle. It's like taking, you know, you have to take 2 required classes, and the first semester was the last age, and the second semester is the next age, and then you have your holiday break in between, which is 22,000 years. But we're gonna pretend that it's a seamless amount of time. And also with the astrological age readings, even though I'm dealing with a macroscopic scale, what information comes out can be used for what's happening on smaller time scales. Whenever, like, information that comes out in this reading can be used for things having to do with moon imagery coming up. It can have to do with Cancer, what planets are in Cancer, if you are Cancer, and things like that. Just any sort of basic day-to-day horoscope stuff can very noisy. The sort of day-to-day horoscope stuff has parallels in the macrocosm. But I don't use these readings to say this is going to happen for you this week, this is going to happen for you next week. This is a grand theme, and it might be themes that you're working on, little bits and pieces. It's a way of thinking about it in between the semesters. So let's... I'm going to pull 5 of these cards and 3 of these oracle cards for the last age. I did shuffle these and clear them already. Let me get a little bit more in. You might notice the plaid my painting that I'm working on. It's in a secret phase right now, so I've got it covered over. Luckily, I don't have any paint on it right now, otherwise my bathrobe would be ruined. And again, if you're watching this and it cuts out, it does it constantly to me when I'm doing this, so you'll just have to cope with it for the 30 seconds it takes to come. Why is it always the same deck when I shuffle out of here? There. That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. So just as an energy on the bottom of the deck, I got the Queen of Swords inverted. This is the Tim Burton deck version. So this just indicates to me that it's the age of Cancer is not a lot to do with deep thinking. It's more of an emotional age. So let me get 3 of the Shaman cards. The last age. Like a weird angle because my chair is low, so I can get most of my face in the screen. Ooh. Bottom of the deck, Jaguar, number 28. Breaking down to a 10, which is a completion number. We also have Strength and the High Priestess as elements. So for me, the Jaguar card represents a very intense, earthy, primal, feminine energy. And even though, like I said, this is water in Cancer element, we still have that binding to the earth with it being the Stone Age. And I'm kind of wondering now if, okay, so think of this. If one age of Cancer, sense if the one after it was, or before it was fiery, and then you would have a third age in another, 24,000 years that would be an airy age. Nobody's going to live 60,000 years to check the theory, but I'm waiting. Are you kidding me? What the freak? Giant loud vehicles screaming down the hill way over the speed limit. All right, apparently we're just going to listen to some kind of vacuum suction. Yeah, so I'm considering now as a great spontaneous inquiry if the full precessional cycle is actually 3 cycles long, so it would be more like 60,000 years, 75,000 years, something like that, because you'd have to cycle through these other elements, because I'm already seeing that the last age of Cancer was very, very much earth oriented, even though it should be water. What you would see is the water flowing over the earth with the post glacial flooding. We have this very dark little bit of moon energy going on. It looks like the Jaguar's in a cave, and she's very much in her power. So for me, this background energy really just indicates that whole tomb, womb, creative, destructive force. Because the Jaguar will stab you in the face. It will eat your crocodile. It will, but they also swim. So think about that. So you have this very feminine earth primal energy, but it swims as well. Interesting. And then with the 2, I hope people can hear me over all that frickin' noise coming in my window. With the 2 of the High Priestess, you have this idea that frickin' tractor. The 2 is the High Priestess, so again, you're having a more intuitive era instead of one where things are based more on left brain thinking. Jaguar. All right, so let me get into these cards here. I'm going to do the shaman cards first. Oh my god, now he's going back the other way. Are you kidding me? Okay. Stand still. Number 52. All right, this one I don't know how to pronounce correctly, but Pachamama. Hopefully close enough. Number 40. 52, 40. And then we have Soul Retrieval. Number 49. Okay. So I have 13 breaking down to a 4. I have 40 breaking down to a 4. And I have 52 breaking down to a 7. So foundation and turning. Movement of the foundation, the firmament. Breaking down. Yeah, so it definitely would indicate global catastrophe. All right, what are we getting here? So soul retrieval, we have transformation here. It also means calling your energy back to you, and I think it has to do with trauma after catastrophe. So what we see is initially, immediately following the flood, you would have people being traumatized. They would be in this state of intuitive functioning, and they would be clinging to, you know, their family for support. They would be trying to regroup, which and here with this chrysalis, it can be a metaphor for death and rebirth as well, especially with this breaking down to a 13, which is death. You would have the tomb here of the chrysalis being the womb for the butterfly. And then you have your metaphor for the Stone Age. And then you have this globe here behind it. Okay. Standstill is for. Okay. So with the global catastrophe, you have the entire flow of what people are used to being upheaved. It's I think there's a disaster movie called The Day the Earth Stood Still. I don't know what it's about. I don't remember. It's like an old-timey, I think it's an older movie, or there was a remake recently probably. It's like you have to reset the clock because you've been very traumatized. But here we have a person sitting on a rock, looking out into the day. They're sort of on the top of a mountain. They've gone through a gateway, and they're down. We have orange and red and yellow here. They're even though they're high up and they've got this light around them, they're in a very sacral and root and gut energy. It's a very instinctive way of moving through the world. This one, I'm going to suggest before I skim the book, I feel has to do with that recovery energy of the earth letting things die and then things being reborn with that moon water energy. And I feel like this is sort of an embodiment of that. But I want to skim these cards in the book to see if there's anything that really jumps out. I'm not going to read the whole description. 40. I want to read this one first. Okay. Oh. Oh. So this has to do with earth energy and creation and planting and that nurturing life on earth, and also says protecting the ocean. Now 4 to 0, 4 is a foundation number. It's also the emperor, and it's also 0, which is a new beginning. So it's like saying you have a new master in this era. Your foundation has been washed away, and you have to start over. There's literally a new Mother Nature taking over. Okay, so let's go stand still. Stand still. So it's a pause in action, even though it has that chariot number of 7. What's really key here is it says perhaps it's time to gather more information or just wait until the universe makes the next move. Go and play, recharge, and take focus off whatever has stalled. Life will get busy again for you sooner than you think. In my mind, those sentences really have to do with the age in general. You've had a trauma, you need to regroup, you're going to go through this very primal, like the living dead era of being just in touch with the ground and rocks as your technology. And you need to exist and be in that state, because the next era will come faster than you think, because by the time Cancer is over, you already have technologies, weaving, horses, more farming, domestication, not only of the animals, but of humans themselves, because when we move into houses, that's when we domesticate ourselves. And oh yeah, for us, soul retrieval. So let me skim that one real quick. Soul retrieval. Come on. Lost innocence, i.e. trauma, like a global catastrophe. Yeah, it has to do with defragging. You have healed the cause of the pain you feel, so you do not need to dwell on it. It also mentions connections to the rivers and the trees. So again, it's recovery, it's transformation, it's regrouping, it's staying in that nurturing energy. It's like a toddler who's tripped and fallen in the kiddie pool and skinned their knees, and they got the water up their nose, and they need to go to their mom, and she's going to take care of them while they're sick, which is a death phase, and then she's going to love them until they feel better. That's the kind of energy with these cards. All right. So we have the non-tarot cards. So Ace of Pentacles in reverse, Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Not a lot of materialism going on here. And this Jack of Pentacles in reverse, which could be a knight or a page. Thinking it's probably a page, but we'll... 911, emergency. Queen of Hearts. Okay, so we're in an intuitive emotional state here in this age. Three of Wands inverted. Plans have changed and you're no longer controlling or really able to see the future. So these are all things that follow what I've already said. I don't want to get into the pentacles too much. Again, you can see there's a lot of earth energy here. I think it's really just to highlight that 911 and the fact that there's a completion here from the age of Leo, and then you have this idea of a new beginning with this either being an 11 or a 1. And they're all inverted because while the earth energy is present, it's not the dominant one. Now, if you were going to say this was a knight, instead of the page, it would be a 1 or a 12 for me. And the 12 is the hangman, which has to do with that standstill card. All right. And then again, a queen can also, in the way that I read, can be a 1 or a 13. A 13 is death. So we see this duality of intuition, dealing with emotions. All right, so let me get some cards for the next age. Hold the cards from the bottom, because last time I didn't, and then I couldn't find them. So leave out the Jaguar and the Queen of Swords inverted. Those are comments down in the bottom of the page. All right. So I think I'm going to do the same number. So we'll get 3 for the next age. And 5 of the little cards. Oh. I don't think I've ever done a reading at 8 o'clock in the morning before. All the normies are going to work. Ugh. Crap. I had a whole pile just flip out on me. I'm not taking the whole stack. I need 1 card. Oh, that one kind of bounced off the top. Okay. Ooh. I don't know if I've gotten this one yet in a reading. Oh, this is so cool. Dude. background energy, the Sweat Lodge. Steam, water. Birdie. You can imagine it to be an eagle where you're gaining higher insight, or it could be a crow for death. Ooh. You can't tell, and I'll hold it up again, but you can't tell from my webcam. This dome on here has like Aztec looking designs on it. There's a couple of Quetzalcoatl serpents here, and then on the top there's that face with the tongue sticking out that's in the Mayan calendar, and I think that same face with the tongue sticking out is the kind of face that you would see from Kali Mat, the Indian goddess, who's she's like the creator and the destroyer. She's Kali and she's Durga, and she is also a tiger. But look, there's no tigers in South America, so that's pretty close. All right, so we have a womb, and we have a person going into it, and we have the light shining. So we have like a mortuary dome with new life shining through this earth vagina slit here. What's the number? 54. So that's a 9, which is like a near completion. It's also what? I'm being told 9 is a watery number. 3 is water, 9 is water. Current, electricity. Okay. Plasma. Oh, okay, so that one's called the Sweat Lodge. That's the background energy. So no, I'm not going to skim that one because that's just the background. So I'm going to get the 5 regular cards to go with the other 3 shaman cards, and then I'll go over those. Okay, so I'm done with that. It's my Ace of Swords upright. The truth. Interesting. Oh, communication. Okay. It's communication. All right, so we have Earth, 17, but it's inverted. Your world has been turned upside down. 17 is also the number of the star, which is Aquarius, which is the water bearer. Drowned world. On the Ray of Light album, there's a song by Madonna called Drowned World / Substitute for Love. If you're feeling frisky, go ahead and look that up. What's the other card here? The Giveaway. I don't think I've gotten that one either. 23. Okay, I'm being told 3, 6, 9. So we have this flow of water droplets here. 23, which breaks down to a 5, which is usually the Hierophant, which has to do with sage, being a sage, wisdom, higher guidance. It's usually like the religious dude card. hope or something. This lady has wings on her head and wings on her arms, showing that she's gaining enlightenment from this moon unit up here. She's downloading information. I could have sworn this was upside down when I shuffled it out. That's weird. Okay, number 6, the blade. The blade. And then we have that 7 again. Now notice again here that the Jaguar is 28. That's 4-7. So this is usually my 4-wheel card, like Ezekiel's chariot situation. But here, again, the 7, you have this idea of there's something to do with wheels. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the chariot is the chariot card is Cancer, which is probably why it keeps coming up. We also have this idea of things turning, and look at this. There's little moon phases here on the blade. Now in regular tarot, number 6 is the Lovers, which is also a choice, but it's this union of male and female. It's using both halves of your brain. I'm not going to make a final decision on what I'm saying about that until I skim the book again, but I've gotten that one a couple of times. Let's find out now if there's anything else I want to say about this. Oh, okay. They're telling me that it has to do with the very end of the age of Cancer. They started metalsmithing. It's a hammered or pounded blade there. I mean, it looks metal, but it could be a stone blade too. They definitely had them. Okay, so technology. Okay, so pointing upwards, it summons the powers of heaven. Make it rain. It can be a healing tool or a weapon, so you have that duality again. Birth and death. Surgery or stabbing. Cutting the umbilical cord, or, you know, taking down wild game or whatever. It says overcome your fear of hurting others. And they're talking about, you know, using this discernment with the blade, whether you're hurting or again with the choice, because the Lovers is also a choice. But when I see overcome your fear, for me, it has to do again with that healing from global catastrophe. Catastrophe. Okay. So I'm going to go to the giveaway first before I go to Earth, because the giveaway clearly goes with this card. So you have 23 and 6 together, which would be 29, which would be 11. So it's that, again, like with these cards. Come on. That 911 emergency concept. Help me, my entire planet is flooded. That's how the people in the Bahamas feel right now. Okay. 23. Okay, so this has to do with nurturing, authentic giving of love, and not just crap that you don't want anymore. Gratitude, which you would feel if you were still alive. It's to do with, okay. It says, as you offer thanks, your heart opens and you start realizing how much life has given you. You heal your feelings of scarcity and open yourself to the abundance that surrounds you. The giveaway invites you to be in the flow of life as you give freely and receive freely. So again, it has to do with nurturing, healing, going from base survival to feeling like you're doing all right. So you're no longer running around chasing seasonal plants and animals. You've hunkered down, you've got a home. You don't have to feel like you're always going to run out of things. That's and then also again the sort of loving, nurturing, givingness. Okay, so 17, the earth. Skim that. 17. Yeah. The gift of life. The body of the planet, the human body, and nature herself, which is exactly what this whole situation is about. Stewards of life on this planet. Okay, so this came out upside down, which means that there's something to be healed. Do you feel ungrounded? Has something swept you off your feet in a way that made you feel like you're going to die for the rest of eternity? That's not what it says. That's just what I'm saying. Focus on what nurtures you. Open yourself to the healing of Mother Earth. So, Sweat Lodge. Perhaps you have lost the ability to trust that your needs will be met and have fallen prey to poverty consciousness. Perhaps you've not been eating well, been overworked and stressed, and forgotten to breathe in the beauty of your surroundings. You're being reminded that when you practice self-care, take a walk in nature and focus on the consciousness of abundance. Okay. So these cards really are a little magical trio here. It has to do with nurturing and healing and getting over anxiety. The work to be done in the last age of Cancer was to get to a point of I had it a second ago. It was good too. Come on. Maybe it'll come back. It's so irritating. What the frig? I totally had that. 10 of Pentacles inverted, which is... Oh, this was the next age. Okay. I hate it when I do that. All right. So this is why the Ace of Swords came out. This is for the next age of Cancer. That's why I forgot what I was going to say. Because I'm supposed to say this instead. The next age of Cancer comes in with the Swords, which is thinking and communicating. Because you're no longer going to be in a solely emotional state as in the last age of Cancer. When we get to the next one where we had this Queen of Swords inverted, the thoughts were running rampant. She was not in control of them. It was harsh, strident, screaming, trapped in a corner kind of animal energy. But when we get to the next age of Cancer, we have all this healing energy, and it's happening because we're able to think about what happened in the last cycle and fully process it with this. Last time we just survived with the earth energy. This time we're going to clear the trauma. Okay. So last age, you survived it. Next stage, clearing and healing and transforming. Okay. So let me get the, oh, I like the, so 10 of Pentacles inverted. Again, it's not fully about Earth because you can see that the next age is clearly run by this air element. It's like the Earth is present, but it's not the dominant factor. And it's also a completion. So we're completing this leftover Earth energy from before as well. Eight of Swords. Breaking free of your mental prison. Letting yourself out of self-fulfilling prophecies. And here we have two ladies. We have life and we have death. And it's clearing out all that emotional trauma. You want to break free. And here we have the moon, 18, Cancer. Well, I mean, technically the card is Pisces, but the moon rules Cancer. So, I don't know. Oh, we have a couple of fine gentlemen here. The 7 of Wands inverted. Defenseless, but also letting down your guard. When it's in the upright, it can also be standing up for what you believe in. But here I would say you're letting go these together. 15, the Devil. These two energies combined have to do with releasing things that you used to believe in that kept you stuck, which would be that sense of lack from having to go through basic survival. 6 of Wands inverted. So this is usually a victory card, but I'm hearing nobody's out to get you. This looming sense of constant fear that the other shoe is going to drop, bottom's going to fall out. Death. This phase is over. Hero. Oh! 4 of Cups. So usually the 4 of Cups card is the dude sitting on the tree and the divine is handing him a cup and he's like not ready for it and he's just sitting looking at his other 3 cups like, man, these cups kind of suck. But he's just ignoring this divine handout. Instead of that, in terms of the rest of this reading, what this is a new foundation for the emotions. I'm seeing, well, this is inverted, but I'm still seeing this idea of there's some balance happening. So you've done all this the emotional work. You thought about it. You've got some self-care going on here. New emotional foundation. Some self-care going on here. New emotional foundation. Okay, so music deck, I'm going to get a few cards for the bridge between these two ages. I'm going to leave the Mother Nature card out. So pretty. All right. Ooh, the Hermit, dust in the wind. I think I want like 3 cards. Oh, 4. Okay, 1 for each number of the foundation. Why am I freaking upside down? I think I want to take them. I'm going to wait if I see if it pops out. Girl, that's all. Let's see if it pops out. Girl, that's all. A lot of wands there. Okay, he wanted to come out too. This card came out in the split. This is the King of Wands. Frankenstein, Edgar winner. The Keytar there. Ooh, look at this triangle pose here. It's interesting. Very much. Ooh, you know what this looks like? Ugh. Yeah, it's under the pile. Yeah. Now, the King of Wands is a masculine character in a masculine element, coming up as a bridge between 2 different ages of a feminine water element. So what I'm seeing is that in the intervening thousands of years, the feminine needs the masculine, not really to take over, but to go through like a mental gymnastics kind of, like a gauntlet, you know, when they run the gauntlet, like those American Gladiator things or whatever it is, those people climbing the obstacle courses. What the hell are those called? Anyway, between the 2 ages of Cancer, there's this intuitive masculine energy that exists to run this mental gauntlet, to start brainstorming, to restructure the brain enough so that this feminine Cancer energy has the neurons to process the trauma, to heal it. It was a long-ass explanation. So I have 2 cards that came out inverted and facing down, but I also had coming out 5 of Wands. So this is Beat It by Michael Jackson. A little picture here of the gang fight about to start. This is also masculine Wands energy. This is like conflict. So we're seeing that there's a lot of, we have this duality of balance and conflict. So it's like life and death, nurturing and attacking, but it's in this intuitive masculine phase. It's almost like after ensuring the survival of the species, the feminine went into hiding for thousands of years, and the masculine was like, okay, I got this, so I'm lifing, I'm deathing, am I doing it right? And we have the Lovers inverted. So this is In My Life by the Beatles, my little part of the Rubber Soul album here, but it definitely says soul on here in particular. So this is that masculine and feminine duality, and it's off kilter because the feminine's sort of on a vacation, basically. She did the thing, and now she's getting her R&R for thousands of years, and then this next age of Cancer, she's like, whoop, let's heal this. Balance, temperance. Now notice the difference. This is a little Sonic and Tails there, chemical plant zone. So we have balance, imbalance. We have this flow. See these little toxic waste tubes here? We've got this waste tubes here. We've got this one tube's flowing this way, the other one's flowing that way. There's this sort of like vesica shaped thing happening. So we have imbalance, balance, and then we have this conflict and then sort of resolution here. There's like a difference of 1. But I'm also seeing the number 11, which would be justice, which would be resolution and trying to establish balance between masculine and feminine. So you can see that between these two ages of Cancer, there's a lot of different stuff going on. It's all fire energy. It's all just sort of base gut feelings. This is 8 strength. Yeah, so there's a sense of weakness. The mankind has been weakened by the trauma of the last age, and it's taking all the strength to get through the trauma. But again, you see this incredible healing and release after all that confusion and restabilizing in the middle. It's like a water table. You have the huge tidal flood and like, woo, and then it comes like crashing over and then everything balances out afterwards. That's kind of what it's like. Do I want any other cards? What's on the bottom? Oh, no, I don't want that one. Any other cards for this reading? Let me think. Oh, okay. I guess I'll take both of these. So I have 9 of Pentacles. So the song here is my favorite color. It's this like mashup thing on YouTube of all these different videos together to make this kind of jazz, experimental jazz thing. So that's a 9 of Pentacles. So we're still dealing with Earth fluctuations of establishing abundance in some way, like usually emotional. And we have 2 of Pentacles here, so we get this idea of like a 911 situation again, or 11, justice, like I said. And the 2 of Pentacles is like a training, like you have to make a choice as well, or this sort of just beginning to learn how to balance, like a baby learning to walk again, or it's for the first time anyway, because it's a baby, but whatever. And it's Do You Believe in Magic by the Love and Spoonful. So we have nurturing and then also this idea of magic. As if almost by magic, the security you wanted on Earth is suddenly yours to have. Yeah. I always like super anticlimactically just kind of trail off when I'm done with a reading. It's depressing. Let me get one of these. Maybe if I get a shaman card, I can wrap it up without sounding like I'm falling asleep. Here we go, the drum. So we have this idea of rhythm, of sound. Now, sound is like water. They make the same patterns, basically. We have a 15 here. So which could be the devil, which could be Earth, but it also breaks down to a 6, which is the Lovers, which is that idea of balance of being able to be discerning. And the drum is kind of the heartbeat of the earth. So if you're being reborn in some way and you're in the tomb/womb, you're going to be able to hear the heartbeat of the earth, which is this drumming. It'd be like a drumming sound, like a heartbeat. So it's like a release. It's a release from materialism, of fear of being tied to materialism, of gaining balance in the brain to fully release and heal trauma. You can't really see it. There's a pattern on the drum. It's just got a lot of texture, and it's basically like a cymatic pattern. So there, I feel better ending it that way. So stop there. We'll just do the old reminder. If you want to order a reading, the most similar reading to this is called Roadblock Moguls. You can find that list of readings in my infomercial video. I'll post a link to it. A lot of the information is going to be in the description of the infomercial video. I like to keep all of the updated text there and just link everything to that video, so I only have to update one. It seems to make sense to me. So we've got CATtheMinion at YouTube, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Cafe Press, DeviantArt. The cat came back at Twitter or my email. If you want to inquire about a reading and you don't want to just like slap that right through PayPal, or if you want to get your file to print your own deck here for the music deck, maybe make a more interesting background than I did. I didn't really think it through before I printed them out. You can email me and I will send you the PDF as soon as I finish it, which will be hopefully today. Ooh, and today is September 5th, so happy birthday, Freddie Mercury. Rest in pieces. And Facebook, TCanyon Art is just sort of like a running blog on my art. It's not like a fancy page like the other one. So, you know, I do have like a couple of art tutorials too and stuff. So check those out. Thank you to anyone who actually watched this. I don't really expect it at this point, but oh, and send me a subscribe or share or like, smiley face, put some random emojis just to F with me. That would be cool. Bye.